Okay, so here's the situation. About a month ago, I made a video tackling a number of DIY projects in my little to-do pile. But that week, there were some projects I just wasn't up for yet. I either didn't know quite how to do them, or I wasn't confident in what to do with them. They were sort of problem pieces I wasn't ready to resolve, so I just left them there and kept avoiding them. But this week, I decided it was time to face my demons and actually finally do all the DIY projects I've been avoiding. They're not even hard, really. I just wasn't confident I knew exactly what to do. You ever procrastinate dealing with something that's not actually super difficult and probably wouldn't take more than a few minutes just because you've worked it up unnecessarily in your head? You get it. So this week, we're just doing it. And hopefully this can also virtually transmit some of my efforts to you, so you can also stop procrastinating and just do those things you've been wanting to do but putting off for no good reason. We can do this. Hello, it's time for our first project, which is this shirt that has been torturing me a little bit since I got it. When I got this, the sleeves were already too short. Then I thought, let me try cropping it to an elbow length sleeve. Maybe I'll like that better. I didn't like it better. Then I sewed the bottom halves of the sleeves back on, but now they're even shorter. Do I wear this shirt ever? No, the sleeves are too short and too tight and they look weird and they feel weird. And I don't think anyone else would want it either, especially with these little chunky seams halfway down the sleeves at the elbows. My mission in all of this was to preserve these adorable little teddy bears on the sleeves. However, what I have learned and realized through the trials this shirt has given me is that it is time to just crop it to a short sleeve shirt and then use the teddy bears for something else. Look at them, they're so cute. Let's just chop these sleeves off, I guess. The teddy bear comes up pretty high, so we're gonna have to go straight from the armpit. Okay. Now I guess we're gonna have to try this on and see if it looks goofy and also see if it needs to be hemmed. Then in the meantime, we gotta figure out something fun to do with these little bears. They're embroidered right onto the fabric. They're not like a patch, but maybe we can just sort of cut around the edges and turn them into patches. This shirt was originally thrifted. If anyone's wondering who these bears are, what's their story, they seem to represent the brand of the shirt, which is Teeny Weeny. I don't know much more about it than that, but they've got some really cute little, what appear to be teddy bear sort of cheerleaders, or perhaps just collegiate teddy bears. I don't know, but I love them. I would love to hear your suggestions or ideas of what you would use these little embroidered teddy bear patches for. They feel like such a precious little decorative object that I probably won't choose something in this video because I want to hear the brilliant ideas that you all will come up with. Hey, you're watching this video. You like crafting, I assume. Sewing or knitting, crochet or embroidery, painting or other arts. In which case, I have amazing news for you. Craftsy, the sponsor of this video, is such a helpful online resource for all things creative, and they have tons of classes on all those topics and more. I have particularly found their sewing classes super helpful, specifically Sandra Betzina's class, Pant Construction Techniques. I've shouted it out before, and I probably will again, because this class helped me make my first ever pair of pants, which I'm wearing right now and which I still love to this day. I've also been hoping to get into junk journaling this year, and Lisa Andrews' class Fun and Fast Scrapbooking has given me a lot of inspiration and helpful guidance to get started. All of Craftsy's classes are taught by friendly and talented experts who go into a level of detail that I just don't see on other platforms, and I found it so valuable for learning new creative skills. And if you're interested, I have an incredible deal for you. The first 1,000 people watching this video to use the link in my description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. This incredible offer is valid for new members only. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel and many of my crafting projects. I've freed them. Also, here's the shirt in short sleeve form, and I actually love it. I thought this would end up looking a lot weirder than it does, but I think this cut is kind of great. Obviously the edge is uneven, so I am gonna hem it, but so far I think it's working out just fine. I also have a little more of a decorative upcycle I'm going to add to not just one, but two white tank tops. We are going to embellish the edge of these with some eyelet lace trim. This is a tank top I already upcycled a number of years ago. I added these bows and I cropped it. And even at the time, I knew I had cropped it slightly too short. And since then, short crop tops have become only less and less worn in my wardrobe. So at the length it is right now, I cannot really imagine wearing this. And I don't know that anyone else would really want it either. But something that I thought would make it cuter and longer is to add this little eyelet lace trim. And then for the other shirt, this one is already long enough, but this I got with the idea of layering it under things to have sort of a ruffled lacy hem poking out underneath. So I want this to be even longer so that I can layer it under stuff and it will poke out nicely. I had a Michael's gift card from Christmas, so I used some of it on this trim. I'm so excited to see how this turns out. I've never added trim to something, but I feel like it could be really transformative, dare I say. You may be noticing, as I've talked about a few of these projects, there is a repeated theme of these being items I had already previously tried to alter or thrift flip, ended up unhappy with, and then didn't know what to do with because they weren't working for me, but as I mentioned a few times, I didn't think anyone else would want them either because of my failed alterations. So I also felt like I couldn't just donate or resell them. I think this is a huge part of why I was avoiding some of these projects, because usually with a piece that isn't working for me, I feel like I can just rehome it, give it to someone else in my life, or sell it on Depop or something. But when they're pieces that are particularly flawed, especially because of my own previous failed DIY, I feel such like an ethical obligation to resolve it and not just let them go to waste. But I'm also not necessarily excited to work on the items because, again, there's something I already feel like I messed up about them. So then I just avoid the project altogether. But once I finally got around to them, I was honestly surprised how much the alterations I did this week really improved these pieces and made me want to keep them and wear them. That said, am I encouraging you to stash away every flawed piece of clothing you've ended up with for like a year until you finally figure out the perfect way to fix it? I don't know. That impulse I have is probably a little neurotic and maybe not super necessary or helpful, but I also think it does drive me to creative problem solving that at least this time worked out really well. I don't really know what the takeaway is here, and I guess not every project needs a takeaway. I just think it's interesting how the circumstances of how certain clothes came to us and where they might go after they leave us can play a huge role in how we feel about them right now. At least for me. And overall, despite the fact that my own mistakes altering these items is what led me to avoid them for so long, I'm also really glad I kept them around and decided to fix them up in the end. Even if I do still end up passing them along to a new home down the line, at least they'll be in wearable condition then. By the way, on the topic of passing clothes along, I am also running a Depop sale fundraiser right now for the Immigration Law Center of Minnesota. Every cent I raise there during this month of February will be donated. Thank you so much to everyone who has bought something or donated so far. It means so much to see how much people care. We have made almost $500 so far, and I just listed some new items too. So my goal is to get to $700 before the end of the month, and I think we can do it. So if you're interested in my clothes or supporting a great organization that provides free legal representation to immigrants and refugees in this time when it is urgently needed, please check out my Depop through the link below. And if you don't want or need any of my clothes on there, but you still want to support the fundraiser, you can also donate directly to the organization. I will link that below as well. And if you email me proof of donation to my email address, which is also written in the description, I will also include that in the fundraiser total. Thank you again so much for your support on this. And keep doing everything you can to look out for and protect your neighbors. Hello, everyone. It is later in the night. I took a little break for a while. Honestly, I was getting frustrated with that sewing on the trim because it was just a little trickier than I expected, a little more troubleshooting than I expected, which at this point I should really expect troubleshooting because this happens every time I sew. I'm also a little frustrated because I don't have the right color thread to hem the sleeves on that other striped shirt, so we're gonna have to do that tomorrow, but it's okay. We're getting through, we're chugging along. And now I have sort of a renewed energy to carry on with my DIYing, even though it is 10:58 p.m. I just wanted to get one more thing done today. I'm so excited to try this next thing. It's a way to fix holes in this striped t-shirt that has a number of small holes in it. I looked up how to fix a hole in a t-shirt yesterday, and I discovered a potential method using iron-on like interfacing, or this is embroidery backing, that I never would have thought of. Hopefully it works for me as well. I'm a little nervous. If it doesn't work, I might spiral, but we're gonna find out. Okay, so I've already turned my shirt inside out. We're gonna start with the smaller holes on this side. And it seems like basically what I have to do is first just iron them, press them so they're nice and flat, and then just sort of like push them together a little, like so. If this doesn't work, it might be because the holes are too large. Let this be a lesson to fix your holes when they're tiny before they get bigger and harder to fix. And now we're just gonna like cut a little piece of this fusible backing to go over the holes. Okay, and now we're just supposed to press. Will it truly hold these holes together? Let's find out. Moment of truth. What does it look like on the other side? You know, the holes are still there. But at least they won't get bigger, question mark? Well, I think it worked correctly. The holes are maybe just a little too big. That's still good to know. Hello, everyone. It is the next morning, and we are off to get some thread so we can actually finish up these projects. Aha. We found the thread. We got the goods. We're back, and we're ready to hem the sleeves on this shirt. Our short sleeve striped shirt is finished, and now it's time to return to our long sleeve striped shirt. In the light of day, I don't think my whole repairs yesterday were quite enough, although I do think they will definitely help stabilize the fabric and the area around the hole a bit so that they will be easier to sew to also close the hole a little better. So I'm just gonna hand sew it. I feel like I've been avoiding that, thinking maybe there's a better way, maybe there's a different way, maybe I can just do it on the machine. But I think I kind of just have to hand sew these holes shut. I realize it's kind of silly to go through this much trouble to repair the holes on this cotton t-shirt that will surely like continue to fall apart and eventually not be wearable anyway. But I just really like this shirt, and I got it secondhand from the Goodwill bins at least 5 years ago. I don't have a way to replace it, and I don't want to replace it. I want this shirt. So I'm gonna do my darndest to sustain this shirt's life in my wardrobe. Hi everyone. So for the rest of the projects in this video, I just kind of locked the fuck in and stopped talking to the camera in real time. So I'm gonna commentate on what I'm doing a little, but I'm also gonna take this time to just chit chat about some other stuff that I think is fun. Firstly, I just saw the new Wuthering Heights movie, and you know what? I enjoyed my viewing experience very much. I haven't read the book. I really kind of went in uninformed just to take the movie for what it was. I have definitely heard the commentary that it like barely counts as an adaptation because there are so many creative liberties taken, so I hear that. But just sort of taking it as its own story, its own creation, I thought it was really fun and compelling. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I thought the visual design was pretty spectacular. It was not historically accurate at all, but it was so heavily stylized that that clearly wasn't the goal or the point. It almost felt more like a dark, surrealist fairy tale Tim Burton Wonderland retelling, which was a very fun visual world to experience. I mean, like every shot was just a feast for the eyes, except this dress.
which I hated. This took me out of the world. But overall, I also think that visual stylization made this sort of campy, exaggerated tone also work pretty well for me. It felt like clearly intentional and self-aware, so I enjoyed it. It did also make me want to read the book just to see how different they really are and compare and contrast what I think are ultimately two different stories with some similarities. Anyway, I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts if you've seen it. I know this has been a polarizing movie, so let me know, and also definitely let me know if you've read the book or not and how that impacted your interpretation. I gotta read the book, and then maybe I can report back.
Alright, Kate's calling me. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
God, I love having sisters to talk to on the phone while I do crafts. Anyway, I'm back. I should probably catch you up on this project that I'm working on right now. This is just a graphic tee I received as a gift, and I like it, but something about the color palette has always felt a little off to me. I think the really bold, straightforward primary colors are just a little hard for me to style for some reason, and I've always thought it would look better with some little purple stars added to it. I've had this shirt for over a year at this point, and I think I just didn't do this DIY earlier because I was worried I was gonna mess it up or regret it or something, but the idea has stayed with me all this time, so I think it's a solid bet at this point. A lot of these upcycles have been sort of an exercise in trusting myself and trusting my vision, which I don't always do super easily and confidently, hence my avoidance of some of these projects for so long, but I'm really glad I pushed myself to finally just do them. Okay, this last piece is actually much newer in my wardrobe. I had some credits from working with Thrift. This is obviously not sponsored by them, but I used some of the credits on this plaid corduroy pinafore, which I love, except that I think the maxi length is swallowing me a little. So I just wanted to hem it a bit and expose a few inches of ankle to add a little definition back to the silhouette and break up this baggy swath of fabric. Honestly, I almost didn't include this one in the video because by the end of all these, I was tired out and I didn't really feel like doing more. But I knew if I didn't do it now, it would become a new project I'd be avoiding. So I thought it was better to just get it done. I also thought about cropping this to a mini length, which I also think would be so cute. Honestly, it would probably look more stylish and less like 90s kindergarten teacher, but A, I love 90s kindergarten teacher, and B, I just know I wear midi lengths so much more because they are so much more practical. You don't have to wear safety shorts, you have way more mobility without fear of exposing yourself, and I just knew it would get more wear like this. Honestly, so much of my wardrobe and outfit choices are determined by how I can best balance style and practicality, and it's kind of weird to sometimes feel like as a fashion creator, maybe I should be prioritizing the style part more. Maybe my need to be practical and comfortable is worsening my style sometimes. But then I remember clothes are for living, not just for looking at, and the experience of living in your clothes is also part of style. Like, even though we think of style as more visual, style is also for living, not just looking at. So in a way, choosing practicality over fashion is also an expression of style, not necessarily a lack of it. And sometimes when I choose style over practicality, that's also an expression of what I'm valuing at that moment. And both are a-okay ways to express yourself. Not to be corny, but it's true. There's no right way to express your style. Alright, with that, we have finished all our DIY projects for the week, and I think they turned out quite well overall. So let me show you the final reveals. First, we have our teddy bear shirt with sleeves that are too short, now transformed into a short sleeve shirt. I was honestly surprised how well this worked out. I thought the sleeves might be too short. Again, I thought the hem might be weird overlapping with the armpit of the top, but it worked out pretty much perfectly. These sleeves are quite short, but I think it creates a cool silhouette and adds some variation to all my more oversized boxy t-shirts. It's almost like a cap sleeve, which I normally hate on me, but because it's a bit longer and not skin tight on the arm, I think it works. I like it. I also, of course, have the little bear patches, which I am very excited to find a home for. I'm thinking they could go on a bag, a jacket, maybe a hat, but I'm also so open to other suggestions. I'm not like married to any idea currently. I would truly love to hear more. So please share any ideas that come to mind. Next, we have our cropped white tank top with lace trim. I honestly could not believe how much cuter this little addition made this top. The before version was truly bumming me out. I was like, this is way too short, what a waste, I messed it up. And then the after with the lace not only fixed the issue with the length, but also just made the whole top feel way more detailed, textural, intentional. I just love how it looks. Then we also have our longer white tank top. I was also kind of blown away by this transformation. I mean, the top on its own is just gorgeous now. Again, it has so much more texture, movement, detail. It looks way more intentionally designed. I love it. I was planning on just using this for layering, but now I think I would also just wear this as a top. But I'm also thrilled that it now works exactly how I imagined as a layering tank top. I tried to recreate my inspo a little and I'm so in love with this. I feel like I could add this to virtually any outfit and make it even better. And in fact, I already wore it out just yesterday, so prepare to be sick of me in this. Next, we have the holy long sleeve t-shirt. Honestly, this was not the most excellent repair job possible. I knew it wouldn't be, but I definitely did improve the situation and prevent the holes from getting bigger. And some of them are actually sealed up really nicely and neatly. Others look a little messier, but you know, I did my best. I think my main lesson from this one is to try to fix holes in the future before they get bigger. And now I know how to do it, so at least I'm prepared for next time. Here is our graphic tee with the addition of some little purple stars and sparkles. I'm quite pleased with this one. I do love the purple with this color scheme. I love the mystical feel of the little sparkles. They add a little more whimsy, and I feel much more inspired to style this now. I did use a pretty light color, which is what I wanted, but I might go over it later in a darker shade so they stand out a little bit more, especially if it fades in the wash. Overall though, I'm so happy I was able to enact my vision on this top, and I really like the result as much as I hoped to. Finally, we have the maxi pinafore turned midi pinafore. I'm quite pleased with this one too. It feels much less overwhelming on my frame, especially because it's a pinafore, so it's meant for layering with a top. I think having the coverage balanced out a little with the ankles being exposed works well. It's also still super comfy. Honestly, long flowy clothes with sort of a sack-like silhouette are some of my most worn items, and I feel like this also has almost a 90s grunge feel, which I'm into. I love the idea of styling this in a more edgy way. Thanks so much for joining me this week on this journey of upcycling and mending and alteration. Again, my fundraiser for the ILCM is linked below. If you're able, I'd love if you checked it out. And I'd also love to hear your favorite project from this video in the comments, or anything cool you've DIY'd lately. Oh, and I heard if you do leave a comment, watch another video, like maybe one from this playlist full of more cozy thrift flips and DIYs, and subscribe to the channel. All your DIYs will work out on the first try, and you won't ever have to go back and redo them and fix them like a year later.